any place that looks like you can sit down. I don't have a lot here, but it's in such large print so I can see it. It's a few pages. When I look around this room and I see new friends and I see old friends, and that saying about, you don't get through something like Allison went through alone. She went through it alone in the end, just because she suffered without so much that none of us knew about. We found out later, Lindsay and I, going through some journals she'd written, 12 journals. She hid so much from us, even though my emails may have seemed long and laborious and detailed to you. It was really a quarter of what she went through and what she suffered through. But the presence of all of you here today is a testament to a value that Allison held dearly, and that was friendship. She knew it was precious, not only in the dark times, but in the sunny times. And thanks to the arrangement of her life, most of her life was spent in the sunshine. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Courage is not having the strength to go on, but rather going on when one does not have the strength." From Allison's first diagnosis in November of 2017, it was a stage 4 cancer diagnosis and a huge battle. She never wanted us to know it was stage 4. She was very upset that the doctors let that out in the room right away. But anyway, I want to stick to my remarks because Lindsay told me to do that. So Lindsay said that since we're going to have all of you speaking of a lot that went on in her life later, I would talk about the younger years. So I will start there. And as I read through the hundreds and hundreds of encouraging notes and cards that all of you and many others who aren't here sent to Allison, it was very touching for me, and I know it was very, very meaningful for her. But there was one constant theme almost in every single note, and that was, "Allison, I love you. You are my true best friend." That came from like a whole bunch of you. "And you have always had my back." Well, one of these early best friends is Christy Thomas. She's not here today. She's with her own daughter in Florida who just turned 16. And she wrote a note and she said, "I want to tell you some things that you might not know about Allison and me. She was my first truly best friend in preschool. And the fun times we had at your house at swimming lessons with Uncle Mac and eating popsicles in the hot sun before they melted." She remembered that Allison actually had her speak for her when she'd come to our house and have lunch because Christy was very shy. She always believed Christy said, "I always believed we were meant to be best friends when we were little kids. And I can tell you that Allison made my childhood more special than anyone else in my life." So, when Allison was 3 years old and in preschool, I got an early indication of what her field of interest might be. I'd arrive at preschool after she'd been there for 3 hours, and she was still at the easel in her painting slot. Still painting. All the other kids had moved on to the different activities of the morning. And the teacher said, "No, she just wanted to keep painting." And I said, "Okay." So when we got in the car, I said, "Ellie," I said, "Did you not want to do any of the other activities that they had in the preschool this morning?" And she said, "Mommy, I just wasn't finished." And her artistic flair lasted a lifetime. Allison wanted to take horseback riding lessons when she was 5. I told her, "Let's wait till you're 9. In a blink, she was 9. So we started horseback riding lessons, and she was so tiny up on these big stallions. She was a natural and quickly progressed to competitive riding, which consisted of stadium jumping, cross-country jumping, and dressage. And in her senior year of high school, she was the Arizona Junior 3-day eventing champion. She always wanted to get back to riding. Unfortunately, as we all know, that didn't happen. But I had a lot of things of Allison's that I'd saved because I knew she wanted to get back to riding. And a place where she used to volunteer in high school was called Horse's Help, where they take children with Down syndrome and cerebral palsy, and really now they take children and adults with 54 disabilities. So I called them and they were delighted. And Charlie polished up all her Ariat boots, and he polished up her saddle, and we cleaned everything, made it look as new as we could, and gave about 40 riding equipment things, saddles, blankets, halters, horse halters, everything, to Horse's Help, and they were just delighted. Another love of Allison's was swimming. She wanted to be a lifeguard at a local camp, but she needed her water safety instructor badge. And you could only do the class at Arizona State University if you were 16. She was 14. She said, "Mom, take me down there. I'm going to sign up for the class. I know I can do it." So we drove down. She went in. She said, "Don't wait for me. Go ahead and go home. I'm going to get in this class." Well, I rode a couple blocks away and waited a few minutes. We didn't have cell phones then. I thought I could see if she comes out of the building. Well, that's exactly what she did. She took the class, and the instructor was very reluctant about it. And so when the class was over and they had to do their water saving test, he gave her the biggest, fattest man in the class to try to save. It's been said that people will forget what we say and what we do, but never forget how we made them feel. That was Allison. She knew the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with one's own heart. Heart was a word she chose when we joined Indian Maidens with several of other moms of mine and their kids. Heart was a name she kept always. Many of you received notes from her where she would just say, "I heart you." It became her symbol she used forever. Now we get to a little story Charlie told a little bit about, but we didn't know what each other was going to say, so it's a little bit of a repetition, but a slightly different twist. Freshman year of high school, Allie got away with a sneaking out trick, which I later found in reading some of her letters that I found. She actually said, "My gosh," she wrote to her friend Melissa one time in high school, "they actually call it the Allison." So what happened was I'm sitting at my kitchen table working on a paper for the art museum. Next thing you know, I hear the radio blaring, and I go to her room. The room is locked. Well, knowing my Allison, little trickster, I was putting those little silver things up on the ledge. You could pull the lock and open it. I had it. Opened it. Went in. Window open. Brought iron open, and she's gone. So. Actually, one of the boys from Brophy is here tonight. You might want to add a little bit to that. They were all smart though, because what they did way back then is I figured out a couple of who I thought it might be. I called their houses and they had put the answering machine on immediately. No ring went through to the parents, so I was stuck. Yeah. So anyway, Charlie told you about the removal of her bedroom door and all of that. So and that's exactly what happened. So I was thinking, and I read this somewhere, so this is not mine, but I thought it was appropriate for Allison. Allison, you were the middle child. You drew the toughest spot in the family. You made all of us stronger for it. You had more patience and became more special every day with your ever-ready smile. You realized a dog could kiss you on the lips and you wouldn't get sick. You crossed the street by yourself long before I knew you did. And you understood your world would not collapse if you went to bed with dirty feet. You were the child of our busy, ambitious years. Without you, we never could have survived all the tumult. Allison was the epitome of the saying by Eleanor Roosevelt. You have to look fear in the face and be able to say to yourself, I will live through this horror. I will take whatever comes my way. Allison had a degree of courage far beyond anything I've ever experienced, nor many others. So after much thought, I wrote a little poem. I changed it a million times, but here goes. Allison, that winsome smile across her face, with that boisterous laugh to follow, her gentle voice, her sense of style, a silly joke to swallow. She fought each day with quiet grace to keep we others strong. She battled back from each attack to cherish and carry her friends along. She loved flowers of all colors, creating beauty with good cheer. She loved all dogs, especially hers, snuggling with them near. Her home reflected beauty. She designed a lovely place where friends and family gathered in her very special place. Always ready for one more battle, she never would give up. As she tackled each new challenge, her spirit would erupt. Each day she had a common goal, to make it through the night. She refused to lose while dreaming of a future bright. Her parents, sister, family, and friends all joined her army brave, praying she'd get well and reach the goal she craved. We all cheered her along the way, emboldened by her fight. You can do this, Allison. We'll keep your spirits light. Many of us drove her to appointments and sat with her when we could. We wore bright smiles to keep her strong, as we knew we should. Sometimes I'd sit quietly and gently hold her hand and tell her of all the others who would join her loving band. The gift she's given each of us is one we'll treasure long. To get the most of every day, we must greet it with a song and cherish those we hold dear, appreciate each one, and be thankful for the time we've had until the day is done. We'll honor Allison's memory from this day until our last. She added a touch of greatness to our lives as we watch the years pass. Each of us have special thoughts that Allison added to our lives and days. Allison made us all live better in many different ways. Now I can't even read it then. And when we tell her story to those whom we revere, the tales we add about Allison will be especially dear. And through our words, she will live on forever and a day, inspiring those who listen to emulate her ways. As Charlie said, we will miss her for the rest of our lives. But we thank you for being here and supporting us and supporting Allison all this long time. We thank you. Thank you.